Welcome to The Explainer. We're always taught that competition is a good thing, that it's the engine that drives us to be better, faster, stronger. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's actually a trap? Today, we're diving into a really radical idea, that the only way to truly win is to stop playing the game everyone else is playing.
So let's start with something we can all picture. Imagine you want to open a bakery in a big city like New York. As one founder, Umber Ahmad, puts it, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a bakery. And that really says it all, doesn't it? It's a super crowded market. It's the perfect picture of what business feels like for most people. Just a brutal head-to-head fight for the exact same customers, the same slice of the pie.
Yeah, this idea that competition is what sharpens us, it's baked into everything, from sports to school to climbing the corporate ladder. But today, we're going to unpack a totally different argument. That real, lasting success doesn't come from outplaying everyone else. It comes from inventing a whole new game. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the problem itself, the competition trap. Then we'll jump to a powerful idea out of Silicon Valley for how to solve it. After that, believe it or not, we're taking a little detour to 17th century France before we trace all this back to the tech giants that dominate our world. And finally, we'll ask the big question, what's the next move?
Okay, let's dive right in. Section 1, the competition trap. We're going to look at why our whole view of competition might be flawed and why winning that game just might not be worth the price of admission.
So this comes from Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal. And he argues that when everyone is chasing the exact same prize, say, a job at the same top-tier law firm, the competition itself becomes the trap. You and your rivals end up looking almost identical, and the reward for winning is, well, it's pretty small. You just become the best at doing what everyone else is doing. All right, so if head-to-head competition is a trap, how in the world do you escape? Well, that leads us straight to Thiel's core philosophy, an idea that has really shaped modern Silicon Valley, the concept of going from 0 to 1. Now, Thiel totally reframes the word monopoly. I know, it sounds like a dirty word, right? But he argues it's actually the ultimate goal. A true monopoly, in his world, isn't about bullying the competition. It's about making the competition completely irrelevant by creating something brand new. Think about it. It's the difference between building a slightly better car and inventing the first airplane. That incredible leap is what he calls going from 0 to 1. But here's the thing. You can't just stumble into a 0 to 1 moment. It takes a very specific way of thinking. It's not about pessimism or even just some vague hope for the future. You have to have what Thiel calls definite optimism. This deep-seated belief that the future is going to be better because you have a concrete, ambitious plan to make it that way.
Now, to prove this isn't just some 21st century tech idea, we're going to take a pretty wild jump back in time, all the way to 17th century France to meet a true original. This is Ninon de Lenclos. She was a socialite, an intellectual, a writer, all in an age with incredibly rigid rules for women. But here's the thing, she just refused to play by them. Instead of competing for a good marriage like everyone else, she created something totally new, her own intellectual salon, a place for the greatest minds of the day. She became this huge figure of influence, but completely on her own terms. She didn't win the game, she invented her own. She basically built a personal monopoly.
And get this, her advice on romance is actually a masterclass in this exact strategy. She basically said that chasing someone aggressively, competing with all the other suitors, is a losing move. By showing less passion, by holding back a little, you create intrigue, you create value. You stop being just another face in a very crowded room. So what she understood, deep down, was that creating scarcity and distance, making herself less available, not more, made her infinitely more valuable. She wasn't just another prize to be won. She wasn't playing their game at all. She made them play hers. Okay, so let's fast forward back to today. How did this exact same strategy, this 0 to 1 idea, scale up to build the modern tech empires we all know and use every single day? How did avoiding competition create some of the most valuable companies in history? This slide breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got 1 to N. That's just more competition. It's adding another bakery to a street that's already full of them. But on the other side, you've got 0 to 1. That is pure creation. That's doing something completely new, like when Apple launched the very first App Store. With one move, they created an entire market that just did not exist before, a market they could then dominate. And the financial result of a 0 to 1 move like that? Well, it's just staggering. $274 billion. That was Apple's net sales in one single year, 2020. You just don't get that kind of value by being a little bit better than your competitor. You get it by creating a whole new category. And this chart, wow, this shows you exactly what that looks like. You can literally pinpoint the moment Apple hit what they call in Silicon Valley escape velocity. Right after the iPhone launched in 2007 and the App Store in 2008, the company just broke free from the gravitational pull of normal competition. It entered a completely different orbit of growth.
But here's where our story takes a turn, because there's a paradox at the heart of all this success. What happens when the revolutionaries who escaped the old game become the rulers of the new world they just created?
It's a classic story, right? The very companies that were the ultimate escape artists, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, they have now become the new gatekeepers. They created these incredible new markets, and now they control all the access to them. And in doing so, they've created a whole new kind of competition trap. And this isn't just a theory, we see it happening. Investigations have highlighted things like Apple using its App Store control to charge developers a 30% tax, or Amazon using sensitive data from small sellers on its platform to launch its own competing products. The revolutionary has become the toll booth operator. The monopoly now makes the rules for everybody else.
And this new reality, it even has a name: surveillance capitalism. In this model, the service is free because, well, we're not actually the customer. Our data, our attention, our behavior, that's the product being sold to other companies. The monopoly that was created to serve us now serves itself by mining us. So where does all of this leave us? If the first trap was direct competition and the great escape was creating a monopoly, what's the next move? What is the game now?
We've seen this whole cycle play out, right? Escaping competition leads to creating a monopoly. And that monopoly can then become a new form of control, a new arena with even higher walls. It really leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. The last great innovation was escaping the competition. Maybe the next one will be about escaping the creators.